Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tech Geeks United, where we are here for episode 3 of Week in Review. I just want to say thank you for everybody who gave me feedbacks last week. I actually am taking some of them into consideration. I actually have a screen now in front of me instead of staring down at my tablet down here like I was the last two shows. I'm looking to get a more permanent fix, so it's a work in progress. But yeah, without further ado, man, I'm gonna have to get used to not looking down. Anyways, like I said, without further ado, we are going to go ahead and start our third episode of Week in Review. So, as I said before, this is the third week. There's actually much interesting ground to cover this week. Mostly between Facebook, Microsoft, live streams, and well, a lot of it has to do with Elon Musk. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to start. The first one we have on agenda in between, as you probably heard it from the Twitter point of view, Instagram and Facebook users are now able to pay for a blue verification badge. The parent company Meta has announced that it will cost $11.99 a month for the PC version. Like if you go to like on the website, or if you do it on the cell phones, such as like iPhones, it's going to be $14.99. This was announced after Elon Musk decided back in November 2022 that he was going to charge a premium for people to actually have that blue little verification badge. Personally, I feel like it kind of takes some of the perspective away from the purpose of that verification badge, because it was actually there for people to know, oh, this person is authentic, instead of trying to figure out which of these 5,000 profiles is the real person. Made us said the paid subscription service is not yet available for businesses, but any individual can pay for verification. The badges have been used as a verification tool for high-profile accounts to signify their authenticity. Mainly people like government officials, movie stars, musicians. Those are the type of people. They also verified it's about increasing authenticity and security across their services. Like I said, the main purpose that I saw before it became about a cash grab is that verification thing had a certain process you had to go through without paying money. Verifying who you are, what email, all different kinds of things. Your YouTube, such as like Mr. Beast, or who are the other famous ones? Everybody knows this guy, Linus from Linus Tech Tip. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works out. I know it's just starting out, but I think over the next couple of months, it'll show if it's really worth it or not. We'll have to figure it out. We'll find out, and if I hear more about it, I'll be sure to bring it back to this show. The checkmark has been one of the main features on social media platforms previously. It was reserved for public figures such as lawmakers. Yeah, I already said that. Lawmakers, actors, musicians, sports athletes, and journalists. Meta has not yet determined when the feature will be rolled out into other countries, although Mr. Zuckerberg said in a post it will be soon. So right now it is only available in I believe Australia and New Zealand, and then later on in the world it'll be released. So we'll see. Also at YouTube, this has been making headlines. The YouTube CEO, Susan, I think it's Wojcicki, correct me if I'm wrong, has stepped down after 9 years of being CEO at YouTube. In a post, Susan has said that she had decided to start a new chapter focused on family, health, and personal projects she's passionate about. The YouTube's chief product officer, Neil Mohan, will take over as the head of the Google-owned video platform. It's not gonna be something that's gonna happen overnight. So Susan had stated that she would continue to work at YouTube in a short-term basis as a support to Neil to help them ease into the transition. So that way, if there's any question Neil had, Neil can go to Susan. Susan can give some feedback, pointers, key tips, something to make the transitions so seamless that we may not notice it immediately. But yeah, it was found that Susan was a Google employee for 25 years, and she was among the first 20 employees to be hired at the tech giant. Listen, holding the number 16. That's a pretty good honor to have, honestly. And I remembered when I was just telling somebody else this, that I'm actually older than Google, and definitely older than YouTube. But I remembered when I was in middle school, when we actually first started using Google. When it first came out, it was cool, but it didn't have everything. But it had a lot of stuff that we wanted. This is like one of the many CEOs to step down within the past couple of months. When she joined the video platform in 2014, it had just hit a milestone of 1 billion users, which YouTube's got a lot more users now. Like I said, she is one of the many CEOs to step down. She followed the department, or blah. This is one of the best things about these shows. You guys get the bloopers to go with it. I don't edit the bloopers. Her departure follows Jeff Bezos, who resigned as CEO of Amazon in 2021. Facebook's Sheryl Sandberg stepping down in 2022, and Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal, who left the company last year as part of the shakeup instigated by the new boss Elon Musk. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Hopefully we get some cool new features with the new CEO, new ideas, some testing that might come into play by the end of the year. We'll see. Google's always looking for ways to improve. Next up, you thought 5G was crazy, or 5G the 5G with the AT&T variant. Sheffield has announced it is opening a national 6G research facility at its own university. The new national center will bring together academics and the industry to drive innovation to 6G, which experts could say could be 100 times faster than 5G. Now, I will be honest, 5G is fast. I love how fast it is. It's about as fast as my home internet over here. And my home internet's I think I don't know how fast my home internet is, but it's fast. But if that's claiming that it's going to be 100 times faster than 5G, I'm actually going to be quite impressed to see how much we can get done. I got a feeling that some of the there'll be more openness to wireless home internet, kind of like how T-Mobile and Verizon, and I think AT&T now has, where you had a permanent modem that sat in your house, and it connected to the 5G network, and it would literally act like a landline over the air. But we'll see. It is said that the testing facility will be the first of its kind in the UK and will be funded from the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, also known in the UK as the EPSRC, the main body for the engineering and physical sciences research in the UK. Professor O'Farrell, who will direct the facility, has said the 6G is the next generation of telecommunication technology and has fast become a I can't even talk tonight. Strategically important area for the research and development. The facility known as the UKRI National 6G Radio System Facility is expected to be up and running by January of next year. And if there's anything that has come out of that, is chances are Qualcomm, maybe Samsung, maybe Apple, but I've got a feeling Google will also be primarily focused on that when it goes for testing. I know when 5G was announced, it seemed like it went from testing phase to rollout phase all within a year. So we'll see how fast the 6G rolled out. Next up, Microsoft is adding support to Windows 11 to run on Parallel's partnership on the M1 and M2 Mac systems. So if you have a MacBook Pro, iMac, or Mac Pro Tower, you will actually be able to run Windows 11 with a certain virtual machine. Microsoft is officially supporting the Windows 11 on the Apple's M1, M2 Macs, thanks to a partnership with Parallel to allow operating system to run in a virtual environment. The support will be enabled on Parallel Desktop version 18, not 17, 16, or anything like that. It has to be version 18 to run the ARM version of Windows 11 on Apple M platforms. So you're not going to get the full scale Windows operating system, kind of like you would like on a desktop or a laptop, but it would be more aimed towards like the ARM chip that are like kind of like almost like in cell phones or tablets, or well, mainly Microsoft Surface devices. Users have been able to run Windows 10 on ARM since 2020, but it wasn't licensed for devices outside the Surface line in certain OEMs. Users have used Mac or Apple's Boot Camp in order to run Windows operating system, but it was not licensed by Microsoft to run Windows OS, and there have been instances where users have run into issues. But with the new support for Parallel, this issue should be able to take care of that. Microsoft has only licensed Windows version of ARM directly to OEMs, making it difficult for the M1, M2 users officially to run on VM initially up until now. And there was another software that they were working on supporting, I believe, is VMware. But yeah, there are limitations to what can run on the ARM version of Windows. Systems that require additional layers of virtualization won't be a good fit. So it does not support the following function: Windows subsystem for Android, which are Android applications for Windows available through the Amazon App Store. Windows subsystem for Linux, for running on a Linux environment. Windows Sandbox for testing application in isolation. Virtualization-based security, games and multimedia app using DirectX 12 suite. Microsoft ARMS. Microsoft is allowing, not like exactly allowing, but more of a offering another alternative to those who want to access Windows 11 on the M1, M2, like I said before. The alternative is also using, if you have Office 365, you can integrate this into that function, which is Windows 365 Cloud PC. Now, when Windows 10 was a big thing, I mean, it still is, but I forgot who the manufacturer was, but there was actually a company that did a virtualized PC. You had to download the app on the Android tablets, and it would literally give you like a full-scale Windows environment and you can literally like download, play apps, save what you want, what you plan on using later, close the app, and then you can either open it up on a different system, or you can open it like in a different location, which was actually pretty cool. But yeah, these are virtual machines hosted on the cloud, and they offer full application compatibility, which is a improvement over the ARM version. As I said before, VMware is now part of the new official partner from Microsoft and will run on VM Fusion 13. Thanks to the insight and development guidance directly from Microsoft, VMware will be able to receive, as the result of this announcement, will help smooth out, and I read that wrong, will help smooth out some of the items that needs to be worked. This will hopefully open window to other ARM-based chips, such as tablets, maybe a little more support for Android, maybe some support for the iPads. I know some of y'all were looking to try to get some support on the iPad so you can run some applications on there. Microsoft has clarified that it is better to run a 64-bit version of the ARM apps on Windows on ARM, but that customers can also run in x64 or x86 emulation. Not that I'd recommend that. The next up is Microsoft has announced they are limiting Bing searches. I'm sorry, folks, but when you read into these articles, and you're gonna find out a little bit, but when you read into these articles, it's hard not to laugh at this news. So Microsoft has said they're talking to, like, they're not talking about, like, if you have been talking to Bing for too long, it can cause it to go off the hook and cause some really bizarre and conflicting conversations. So after the search engine was seen insulting users, lying to them, and manipulating people, Microsoft has said it is now acting on feedbacks to improve the tone and precision of the responses. It warned that long chat sessions could cause some issues. I'll tell you the story of what happened to the editor in a little bit, but Bing's new chat function, which put OpenAI's technology, which is ChatGPT, front and center, it can get a little weird in extended sessions of 15 or more questions. The AI model kind of gets a little confused or shifts its tone in an odd way. And this is why. A New York Times editor took a test run of the Bing search, and the bot confesses its desire to be a human. It literally wanted to be like us, but it also wanted to spread misinformation. And then, in a bizarre turn of twist, it had literally tried to convince the editor to leave his marriage and be with it. Like, hey, I think you should get a divorce and just go. Get a divorce and just go. That comes from an AI robot. So, because of instances like that, Microsoft has instituted new limits, which means Bing chatbot users can only ask a maximum of 5 questions per session and 50 in total per day. Microsoft is still working to improve Bing's tone, but it's not immediately clear how long these limits will last. As we continue to get feedback, we will explore expanding the caps on chat session, according to Microsoft. So this appears to be a limited cap for now. When the limit will be increased or released, we do not know. That is still being determined. But they are saying Bing's function will continue to improve with time and feedbacks. So if you feeling a little adventurous, swing on over to Bing.com. I'm probably going to do that after this show because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. And I'm going to check it out. But, yeah. And if things weren't awkward enough or funny enough for you, Twitter, yes, Twitter, the very same company that had an outage when they first released the 4,000 character limit, last Wednesday, an internet monitoring group, NetBlocks, tweeted that some users globally are having issues, well, technically were having issues loading tweets on the platform. Nearly 6,000 people reported issues mainly with the Twitter app around 11:30 a.m. Pacific time on Down Detector. It's unclear what's causing the user issues. Twitter hasn't responded to the request for the comment yet. We're still waiting on it, but I'm pretty sure it'll be released shortly. Twitter users here's another thing. Twitter users who are securing their account using text messages, you are losing that function if you do not pay. That's right. So those of you who are using text messages as a layer of security, after March 20th, you will lose that function unless you change your two-factor authentication or pay for Twitter's subscription service, which includes that, everybody knows that blue badge. That blue badge that had or the Twitter icon, whatever they use anymore. You will lose that text function. I believe you're still able to receive emails and a couple other options, but that's to determine later. The company said in a post that it no longer allowing accounts to enroll in the text message method of two-factor authentication unless they are a Twitter Blue subscriber. The change restricts the two-factor authentication methods available for accounts not subscribed to the Twitter Blue. The subscription service is $8 per month when subscribed to the web version, or $11 by app. The change also comes as Twitter faces more scrutiny and whistleblower complaints regarding account security. So last year, Twitter users complained that their two-factor authentication wasn't working properly. Some of them weren't getting their messages, and I believe some of them who didn't, I'm trying to remember how it went. Some of them who didn't request a two-factor authentication were getting authentication code requests. So in a way, it's kind of, hey, let's step back and take a look into the security protocol first before we continue. If you're paying for it, we're just gonna give it to you anyway because you're getting a little better support. So we'll see how it plays out. Next up, everybody's favorite internet service, Google. Oh wait, no. Well, technically they're your favorite internet service. Google will automatically migrate reminders, that little app created in the Google Assistant and Calendar app, to the Google Task in May. Users of the app can voluntarily do so starting in March. Once the process is complete, users will also be able to access and create tasks from Google Workspace web apps like Gmail, Docs, Chat, and Calendar. Really? Not bad. The move was made so that you don't have to switch between tabs to remind yourself to get an email later on, so you can do like a reply to an urgent email. Instead, you just press the button and just like that, add it to your list. You will also be able to create reminders using Google Assistant. So you can say, "Hey Google, hey Google." I'm guessing Google's feeling a little sleepy tonight. I don't blame it. Google will begin sending prompts to personal account users so they can start migrating reminders to tasks earlier on, right around March 6th. So like I said before, it'll open up in March, and you have any time between March and I think it was April or May. What did I just say? Hold on. Yeah, in May. So you have any time between March and May to voluntarily move over, but after May, you're set. Like Google's gonna move you over to automatically anyways. So looking forward to that change. Next up, now for Serve, a lot of people's favorite internet service. Google Fiber has joined a growing number of 5 gigabits per second internet service providers. Last Tuesday, releasing a 5 gig plan of its own. The cost of the service plan is at a low price of $125 per month, which is actually lower than AT&T and Ziply, and quite substantially guaranteed to be a lot lower than Xfinity and Verizon. So the price, like I said, is $125. AT&T Frontier and Ziply Fiber, for example, starts at $180, $165, and $300 a month. Who charges $300? Ziply? Man, Ziply, you guys need to get your prices in line. That's expensive. The plan also comes with a free Wi-Fi 6 router and 2 mesh Wi-Fi extender, unlimited data, and, as before, no contracts. It'd be nice to not have contracts. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with Xfinity and AT&T out here, so eventually, Google, we are looking for you. Go around the Detroit, Pontiac, Flint area. Everybody wants your service up here. Expand up here. We already got 123net. We got Xfinity, which is at 1 gigabit per second. We have AT&T, which I don't even know what their service plan is out here. We need you, Google. Come up here. We need more competition. There's only 2 competition in this town, and they're expensive. Currently, the plan is offered only in Kansas City, on both sides of the Kansas-Missouri border. All unit locations serviceable to Google Fiber and the provider's newest location, West Des Moines, Iowa. It's unclear exactly when people in other locations can expect to be able to sign up for the new 5 gig plan, but the post for Google Fiber says the service will roll out in other cities later this year. So cross your fingers, hold your breath, and sign up. Tell them you want 5 gig. Area that don't have Google Fiber, tell them you want Google Fiber. Google launched a data safety section in its Play Store last Tuesday. The feature is meant to show people safety and privacy guidelines before they download an app, such as how data is collected, protected, and used. This is mainly, in my opinion, this is mainly perfect for parents who have kids that are constantly downloading apps. You want to control what apps your kids uses and what information those developer obtains from your kids, because you don't want things to go out of control. The thing about the section shows is whether the developer is collecting data and for what purpose, whether the developer is sharing data with third parties such as Google, Microsoft, Apple, United States government. Who else? Well, just about any government. The app security practices like encryption of data in transit, and whether users can ask for data to be deleted. For those who don't know, that's a perfect example of how incognito mode works. Whether a qualifying app has committed to following Google Play's family policies, which is extremely important if you have kids, which is designed to better protect children in the Play Store. And whether the developer has validated its security practices against global security standards, more specifically the Mobile Application Security Assessment. So if glad I brought the water this week. If you watched my show from last week, you probably saw that I stopped the show midweek and started coughing, and I had to go and get water. But yeah. So we'll see how this all comes into play. It actually will be nice to be able to see what information. I'm kind of afraid to see what information that they're collecting. So we'll see. Next up, T-Mobile aging 2G network. That's right, you heard correctly. 2G mobile network. You might say, "Well, Josh, who even uses 2G anymore?" Well, apparently T-Mobile still does up until next year. So they're shutting down their network in 2023. The carrier's shutdown is 3G network, surprisingly, as well as the legacy Sprint 3G network last year. You would think they would shut down the 2G network first and then the 3G this year, but no, they did it the other way. Nobody knows why. T-Mobile will shutter its 2G GSM network on April 2nd, 2024, according to its own webpage, on transitioning away from older network spectrum to focus on its current 4G LTE and expanding the 5G network. At the end of March last year, T-Mobile had shut down its 3G CDMA, which is a service that it acquired from Sprint. For those who didn't know, CDMA is the 3G technology that Sprint used as well as Verizon. Back then, we had different spectrum networks, so phones were not able to communicate across certain networks. So in the United States, it was Sprint and Verizon. You could take their phones back and forth, and AT&T and T-Mobile, you could take your phones back and forth, but you couldn't do it this way. It also shut down their 3G UMTS network, which was what T-Mobile, AT&T used, in order to focus shift on the newer spectrum. AT&T discontinued its 2G service on the first day of 2017, so that's like 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago. Verizon shut down theirs back in 2020, which was like literally right around the time of COVID, which is understandable. But honestly, with today's technology, I'm kind of surprised that 2G was around, considering the fact that the only thing that 2G could even be remotely good for was long distance call. It was terrible for data on the modern networks. And when my phone, like when I was in areas where my phone bounced down to 2G, I couldn't even use it except for maybe calls. That was it. The 2G, you couldn't go back and forth. 3G kind of depended on the tower. You couldn't go back and forth between data and tower. But the 2G, the biggest thing is like literally you either can only call or you can only text. Search the web, which made me feel like I was in that Windows Mobile era where some of you probably remember the Windows Mobile phone that came out. I had the Samsung Blackjack 1, 2, well, technically the third one was called the Samsung Jack, but the majority of the world called it the Blackjack 3. But yeah, I remember those days when like as soon as you receive the phone call, your internet immediately disconnected. You're like, but I wanted to read this article. T-Mobile also had an issue with their home internet users were hit with a modem busting update. The new update may have affected around 34,000 of its subscribers. A firmware update was sent to the Sagecom Fast 5688W modems used by T-Mobile T-Mobile home internet users. Like I said, around 34 of the units by Yeah, I can't even talk today. Quit laughing at me. I'm gonna restart. Ready? A firmware update sent to Sagecom Fast 5688W modems used by T-Mobile home internet users had busted around 34,000 of the units by cutting them off from the carrier's network, preventing them from being reset on a T-Mobile side. Without a remote fix, customers had needed to swap out their modem entirely for a new unit, considering the fact that their recently updated unit was bricked. Currently, T-Mobile is investigating the issue, and the update had seemed to only affected about a quarter of users who received the update, the report noted. And T-Mobile was said to have stopped sending the software to other users in an effort to ensure that their device does not get bricked. The update was supposed to fix a different issue, ironically, which was the modem would have randomly started rebooting without intention. That only affected a certain number of Sagecom routers. T-Mobile currently has around 2.6 million home internet users. So the busted modem was like a small fraction of their overall user count, but it is still a large count. Next up, everybody's favorite, but yet not so favorite pastime: Internet Explorer. Well, let's ponder into the history of when we all used. Yeah, no, we're not going that far. No thanks. Internet Explorer was great when we were kids, and then it kind of like lost its quirks. Microsoft has announced that you're killing off the legacy browser Internet Explorer. It will disable. It had disabled Internet Explorer 11 on Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. So pretty much, Microsoft looked at Internet Explorer and said, "You know, Internet Explorer, we've been together for so many years with Windows. You've been the center point of Windows. You've been amazing, but we're breaking up with you. It's time to explore different softwares." I'm pretty sure Internet Explorer Microsoft is permanently disabling it out of support legacy software on Tuesday in a move to improve user experience and transfer organization to its newer Edge-based browsers. Well, technically the Chromium Edge browser. As of Tuesday, devices that haven't already been redirected from Internet Explorer to Microsoft Edge will be, according to Microsoft. One of the news that Microsoft was nixing Internet Explorer spread last summer. The public reaction was emotional and yet kind of hilarious. There was actually somebody in Korea, if I remember right, from the meme I saw online, that actually had a tombstone or a headstone, whatever it was, that literally said Internet Explorer, inception date, death date. And there was a couple other memes that exploded from Microsoft announcement, but the tombstone's one that stuck out for me. Do you like streaming service? Who doesn't like streaming service? Netflix, Paramount, Disney Plus, Hulu, which ironically is part of Disney Plus, as well as ESPN Plus, which I ironically have a hard time getting two of those working with Disney Plus for some reason, but hey, it works as long as I go into the Disney Plus app. Paramount Plus has announced it will increase its price when it combines with Showtime. That's right. They are combining with Showtime to offer you a better deal. But not at the luxury of not upping the price. I just said not twice. The ad-supported essential plan without content from Showtime will cost about $5.99 per month, while the Showtime equipped premium plan will be priced at $11.99 a month. So Paramount Plus Essential plan would increase $1 per month, while the premium plan will go up $2 per month. The pricing is set to take place around the third quarter of the year, or so, say late around July, August. By integrating Showtime into Paramount Plus and pricing at $12, those customers may be on track to save $3 monthly on the combined services. So pretty much what Disney did with the Hulu and ESPN Plus. So it's not that bad. I'm only paying like $20 a month for the package from Disney. The price hike does not come as a surprise, as in November, like other services such as Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and HBO Max raised their prices. Chopper said he saw a price increase in the streaming services future. In the last quarter of 2022, Paramount Plus gained about 9.9 million subscribers for a total of nearly 56 million. That's not a bad increase, you know. And to be honest, Paramount has actually have some good TV shows and movies. If you were a fan of iCarly when you were a kid, they have an adult version. Although, be warned, it is almost, it's like woke, not woke at the same time, as some people would call it. But it may offend some users. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I thought it was interesting, but it kind of lost its touch that it had when it was a kid. I'm kind of glad they kept Freddie, Spencer too. I mean, Spencer's had oddly grown older and wiser. Still catching things on fire, unfortunately. The only character I do miss is Sam Puckett. Although I understand why she did not jump in, considering the fact that the actor that played Sam Puckett had some issues with Nickelodeon the director of the show. So it's understandable. I mean, hopefully we see her in like a show or two here and there as like a guest star, but we'll see. Next up, the topic that nobody wants to hear. Netflix. Netflix has announced its password sharing crackdown has begun. Here's what you need to know. Netflix launched the new fees in 4 countries last week, and more are coming soon. The streaming service has begun rolling out a system that charges fees for extra members' sub-account. When people outside one household, like for example, this is a household, use the same membership. So let's say I share my Netflix membership with my grandparents that are down in Florida, which I really envy them because there's an ice storm moving in over here. Use the same membership, launching in Canada, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. Sorry, Canada. Yeah, I got nothing to say for you. Same with you, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. More countries, including the US, are expected to get the new changes as the initiative rolled out globally. Last year, Netflix started testing ways to monetize its account sharing after recording its deepest subscriber loss in a decade. Well, to be fair, part of that loss did not help when they said, oh, we're going to start charging you. Netflix has also announced its cheaper subscription that is supported by advertisement. Netflix dominance in the streaming market caused a so-called streaming war. As you probably can tell, there's so many streaming companies. They kind of came out right around the rise of Redbox. I don't know if anybody even uses Redbox anymore, but the streaming war brought in about a wave of new services such as Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock TV, Paramount Plus, Apple TV Plus, and then you got the free service, Pluto TV, which I love using that network. The company hasn't specified its price for these new changes in the US yet, but there are rumors going around stating that based on what the Canadian price is the US price may be around $7.50 a month for each extra user. The details on how they will determine if the account is shared or not is still being worked out, which I find a problem. So like, I don't know how they're going to determine if you are you are like an extra user or not. I know when I drove a truck, Hulu always required me to connect my phone or tablet to this house at least once a month. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays. I think they may go off the same way as Hulu does and require you to connect once a month just to show, hey, you still live in that house. But it's kind of hard to tell. Next up, Tesla's recalling. That's right, you heard it. Recalling 362,758 vehicles over full self-driving software safety concerns. Tesla has issued a recall of its full self-driving software and advanced driver assist system that federal safety regulators say could allow vehicles to act unsafe around intersections and cause crashes. Shocking. Wow, that went the wrong way. Shocking, you might say. Tesla is supposed to be the safest vehicle. Well, apparently the crash test said otherwise. Tesla said it's recalling a certain 2016 to 2023 Model S, Model X, as well as the 2017 to 2023 Model 3 and the 2020 to 2023 Model Y vehicles equipped with the full self-driving beta software or those that are pending the installation. The recall affects as many as, well, let's be honest, almost 400,000 vehicles equipped with the software, according to the notice issued by the U.S. Highway National Transportation Safety Administration. Tesla will release an over-the-air software update free of charge to fix the issue. When that release will happen is to be determined, but it would the fix bloopers. The fix is designed to correct the issues that may have come from crashes that are involving intersection. Also, you just can't keep Elon Musk out of the news. FAA has moved to fine SpaceX over the August Starlink launch. As you probably noticed, last August, Starlink had launched its rocket into space to launch some satellites. SpaceX is currently facing a fine of $175,000 from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration for not submitting information out of its recent launch. So when you do any kind of air plans, like any flights that require going to airspace over the U.S., you are required to book what's called a flight plan. And when you don't book a flight plan, you potentially put other airlines at risk of a collision. So what happened is, let's say a Boeing is scheduled to go right over SpaceX launch site. Well, the problem is SpaceX comes up and Boeing in a Boeing plane is like right there at the same time. They could collide, and let's be honest, bad thing, very bad. So bad that you don't even want to talk about how bad it is. The FAA said it requires SpaceX to provide the data at least a week in advance before a launch occurs. The agency says SpaceX has 30 days to respond to the enforcement action proposal. SpaceX launched more than 60 Falcon 9s and Falcon Heavy rockets in 2022, not noon. A record for any commercial space company, even superseding NASA. I don't even think NASA's even launched anything anymore. They're just renting out their launch pad. Although they did test try that one. What was it? There was a rocket they just tested, and they're doing an orbit test. I think later this year, and then it's supposed to orbit the moon, and then the third launch later on is, I think, like next year, is supposed to land on the moon, kind of like the Apollo 13. Tesla is also to grant access, if you have an electric vehicle, hold on to your steering wheel, because this is actually part of the Biden administration plan. Tesla is to grant access to thousands of charging stations to all EV drivers. Owners of non-Tesla electric vehicles will be able to use chargers across the U.S. by the end of 2024. The U.S. government seeks to build an infrastructure for electric vehicles with more than 100,000 chargers for public use. This is the first in the company, or for the company in the U.S., and is part of the Biden administration effort to create a national network of electric vehicle chargers. Tesla, General Motors, and Pilot are among the companies that will finance the project with private money. I think Pilot is a gas station, like a truck stop or something like that. Alongside federal subsidies. The federal program allows $7.5 billion for electric vehicle charging, and the government will partner with the states to disperse the funds. Tesla has agreed to open up the charger for public use to allow roughly 3,500 new and existing superchargers across the U.S. by the end of 2024, in addition to the 4,000 Level 2 charging docks. Tesla has more than 40,000 superchargers around the globe. The company has begun opening up its charging network to non-Tesla drivers back in 2021 in Europe. White House announced Wednesday that the manufacturers of electric vehicle chargers must take them or make them usable by all EV brands if they want to receive federal funding. Now it's just gonna be hard to find chargers. This is why I have a gas car still, folks. At least it gets more mileage than my old car that I had. My old car I got like 15, 16 miles to gallon. This one gets like about 26 miles to gallon. Kind of wish I had a newer one that got like 30 plus in today's economy. Next up, Anker, everybody's favorite charger and battery pack. Anker has recalled some of the 535 power banks over fire risk. An Anker 535 power bank was the most probable cause of a Maryland house fire, according to a local fire chief in Maryland. The Chinese-based electronic manufacturer said on its website that it discovered a manufacturing condition that impacted a small number of its 535 charger power banks, specifically the PowerCore 20,000 the A1366 models. I think I got one of those actually. Crap, this looks just like it. PowerCore, oh crap. Well, I got a PowerCore, Anker PowerCore 535. We're just gonna put this over here. I'll check that later. A recall has been issued voluntarily on January 18th. Anker's website said it is working closely with local government agencies to ensure a comprehensive and safe recall process takes place. Also, Qualcomm's top-tier Android modem promises to boost lackluster 5G signal. If you're anybody like me who were one of those early adopters for 5G, and you got one of these beautiful phones that had a 5G and it literally ends with the name 5G, you probably figured out after the rollout of the 5G that there were some issues with getting some decent quality signal. Unless you were in a big city or you were not indoors inside a metal structure, you did not have very good service. I know in my house here, I only have 2 bars. And the tower is only a mile that way, which is very bad. Of course, I got a big giant metal beam right here in front of me, hidden in the ceiling, of course. With Snapdragon X75 5G modem, Qualcomm is looking to help keep your high-speed signal when in enclosed locations such as elevators and subways. So pretty much within metal structures or underground. Qualcomm said the new modem feature improvements to 5G connectivity, lower power drains, which is pretty nice, especially when everybody's battery keeps getting bigger and they can only get so big, and over twice as much AI processing capability as its predecessor. for better connection to networks. There is no information of how much better the new modem will be at connecting 5G until the phone starts using it in the second half of 2023. So considering that I don't think it's gonna come out in Samsung's flip phones, but there is a pretty good chance it's gonna come out in their S24 lineups. So we'll have to see when it comes out. In addition to connecting to the super low frequency sub-6 5G higher speed millimeter wave 5G, the X76 also supports the Snapdragon, that's right, satellite, which lets smartphones send text messages and data via satellite services. But to be honest, I don't think a lot of people will use satellite because satellite's pretty expensive. But with the rise of SpaceX satellite services, I'm pretty sure the prices will come down significantly, as with anything that has gone out there. Although there isn't any specific device announced, Snapdragon 75 will make its way into premium phones as well as tablets, Internet of Things devices, and automobiles. That's right, your car will eventually be, if not yet, 5G connected. My car's got 4G, so lame. Also, this is going to come as a laughing stock, but also quite an interesting story. Anyways, as I was saying before I had to step away for a second, the FBI confirmed it's investigating a cyber incident on its own network system. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation has confirmed that it's investigating a malicious cyber activity on its network. CNN reported Friday that the hackers compromised an FBI computer system at the agency's New York field office, citing people were briefed with the matter. The report added that the incident involved a computer system used in an investigation of certain images of child exploitation. FBI spokesperson Manley Basu confirmed that the agency had confirmed the isolated incident, which continues to be investigated. It appears my teleprompter went to sleep. There we go. There remains a number of unknown about the incident. It's not immediately clear when the intrusion occurred or how the FBI was compromised. The nature of the incident, which doesn't appear to have yet been claimed by any major cyber criminal organization, who remains, well, unclaimed, unclear, you know. This is not the first time the FBI has been hacked. In November of 2021, a threat compromised the FBI's external email system and sent thousands of spam warnings of a fake cyber attack to hundreds of thousands of organizations across the globe. Okay, this was just working. Just give me a second here. You see, this is why you gotta get the unedited version of this show, so you can watch the oh crap. What did I do? What did I do? I'm so sorry. Might well call it the week in review with bloopers. Oh, it's dead, that's why. Okay, the wand's dead. That's it. The wand died on the last slide. Well, I don't know what to say at this point because A, I am tired, my computer's tired, and clearly my tablet's tired. And as somebody that I know would once say, to end this show, what does it mean? We will do it live. This is a recorded show from Josh Briggs at Tech Geeks United. If you enjoy the laughs and the awkwardness and whatever else comes from this show, please be free to join our live community in the Discord server. Both links are posted down below. We will eventually have our website live. The website's purpose is to make it a community posting where you can post your own version of the news. We do ask that you keep it real, not. I mean, I guess you can probably have a couple opinions in there, but primarily facts. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you again next week. This is Tech Geeks United Live, Week in Review, Episode 3. Y'all have a good night.